Hello and a very warm welcome to Midday Prime. Over the next 1 hour, we'll bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. We will update you about the happenings in the world of business and sports, and we'll get you some interesting stories that are making headlines. But first up, the big news at this hour. First, India-Nepal cross-border Motihari-Amlekhganj oil pipeline inaugurated jointly by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nepalese Prime Minister Sharma Oli. The first ever cross-border petroleum pipeline in South Asia will help enhance energy security and reduce transit costs in the region. President Ramnath Kovind addresses the Indian community in Iceland, applauds them for forging people-to-people relations and contributing to local society through their advanced skills and knowledge. President also interacts with the Indian business delegation. Special market intervention price scheme announced of procurement of apples in Jammu and Kashmir. 12 lakh metric tons of apples to be procured. Scheme to enhance a grower's income in the valley by about 2,000 crore rupees. Pakistani politician exposes the persecution of minorities in Pakistan. Minority leader of Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan led Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Baldev Kumar seeks political asylum in India, says he fled from Pakistan as the situation there is not conducive for minorities. In international news, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's second attempt at early election fails. Opposition MPs insist on implementation of the new law blocking a no-deal Brexit. The new law obliges Boris Johnson to a delay unless he can strike a new deal at an EU summit next month. US President Donald Trump proclaims Taliban talks are dead. US military likely to ramp up operations in Afghanistan to counter increase in Taliban attacks. In sports, 10 Sri Lankan players opt out of Pakistan cricket tour, citing security reasons and concerns. Most international teams have refused to tour Pakistan following a terror attack on Sri Lankan team in Lahore in 2009. Afghanistan stunned Bangladesh by 224 runs in the one-off test at Chattogram. Rashid Khan picks 11 wickets to become the youngest captain to win a test match. A top focus this afternoon, boosting ties with Nepal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nepalese Prime Minister Sharma Oli jointly inaugurated the first ever cross-border petroleum products pipeline in South Asia. The Motihari-Amlekhganj petroleum product pipeline will lead to a drastic reduction in transit costs, which will benefit the people of Nepal.
A historic moment not just for India-Nepal ties but for entire South Asia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi jointly inaugurated the first ever cross-border petroleum products pipeline in the region. The Motihari-Amlekhganj petroleum product pipeline in Nepal with Prime Minister Sharma Oli via video conferencing. This India-Nepal Energy Cooperation project is a symbol of the close bilateral relations India and Nepal share. It has been constructed by India in just 15 months, half of its 30 months deadline.
यह बहुत संतोष का विषय है कि दक्षिण एशिया की यह पहली क्रॉस बॉर्डर पेट्रोलियम पाइपलाइन रिकॉर्ड समय में पूरी हुई है। इस पाइपलाइन से हर साल 2 मिलियन मैट्रिक टन तक के क्लीन पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स अफोर्डेबल रेट्स पर नेपाल के सामान्य लोगों को प्राप्त होंगे। हमारे संयुक्त प्रयासों का उद्देश्य है कि हमारे लोगों को लाभ मिले, उनका विकास हो। पिछले 5 वर्षों में हमने महत्वपूर्ण द्विपक्षीय परियोजनाओं को पूरा किया है और कई अन्य इनिशिएटिव्स के परिणाम जल्दी प्राप्त किए हैं।
The 69-kilometer long pipeline will help to enhance the energy security of the region and substantially cut down on transit costs. The cost of pipeline is around 350 crore rupees, which is entirely borne by the Indian Oil Corporation. The pipeline will ensure smooth, cost-effective and environment-friendly supply of petroleum products to Nepal.
Nepal Oil Corporation has already reduced both diesel and petrol prices by 2 rupees per litre effective from today. This project will, without any doubt, enhance interconnectedness and interdependence between our two countries. It is one of the best examples of connectivity in terms of trade and transit infrastructure of Nepal and India.
मेरे लिए खुशी है कि आज आपने इस पाइपलाइन के उद्घाटन के साथ ही उससे जो आर्थिक रूप से बचत होने वाली है वो आपने नेपाल के नागरिकों की तरफ उसको समर्पित कर दिया और वहाँ दाम कम करने की योजना भी घोषित कर दी। यानी एक प्रकार से ये काम नेपाल के सामान्य नागरिक की भलाई के लिए हुआ है। नेपाल की प्रायोरिटीज के अनुसार उसके विकास में सहयोग के लिए भारत के कमिटमेंट को मैं आज एक बार फिर दोहराना चाहता हूं।
The pipeline was conceived of in 1996 under Prime Minister Vajpayee's government, but it was only in 2015 that it got a go-ahead from the cabinet. The earthquake delayed commencement of the work on it. However, the groundbreaking ceremony was held in April 2018 and the project has been inaugurated in a record 15 months. It's a symbol of Prime Minister Oli's prosperous Nepal. Happy Nepali motto that mirrors Prime Minister Modi's Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas mantra. With Raj Kumar in Kathmandu, Bureau Report, GD News.
Our correspondent Raj Kumar now joins us on the phone line from Kathmandu for more on this. Raj Kumar, how will this pipeline project boost energy security in Nepal while providing energy at affordable rates to the common Nepali citizen there?
Definitely, Vincent, this is going to be a game changer in Nepal's development and prosperity. And this pipeline has already, people have started getting benefits like petrol and diesel prices have been decreased, have been reduced by 2 rupees per litre. So this is going to be a very important milestone in further enhancing India-Nepal relations, especially in the entire development process of Nepal.
Rajkumar, how is the pace of implementation of this pipeline project being viewed in Nepal, considering that the pipeline has been built at a record time?
Definitely, the people are very happy. After the inauguration ceremony, I spoke many people, and they were very happy like this. This is especially people are happy like this is going to reduce pollution in Nepal, because at the border, India-Nepal border, many trucks, tankers were used till now were used to transport the oil products, and now after the inauguration, after the operationalization of this pipeline, now definitely the pollution level is going to reduce, and the other benefit will be it will ensure smooth supply of petroleum products. As you know, Nepal is a geographically a difficult terrain where many landslides, flooding, inundation, which takes place during the bad weather. So now, after completion, after inauguration of this landmark pipeline, now people of Nepal will smoothly get the petroleum products, and it is going to affect the economy very positively. Like the momentum of the economy will continue. Now there will be no problem of fuel. So now this is going to help a lot Nepalese economy and especially the common people. And I was speaking to the finance minister of Nepal also after the inauguration of this ceremony, and he was also saying like this entire project, the petroleum products will definitely going to help Nepal economy, and it will speed up the entire development process in Nepal, and it is going to benefit a lot, not only the common people but the nation as whole.
Rajkumar, to what extent will transit and leakage costs of Nepal be saved? Will we see savings worth billions of rupees of Nepal take place? Will that also help give a momentum to Nepal's economy?
Definitely, like till now there were huge transportation costs, and plus there was leakage problems during the transportation. So that all those problems will now go away, and this is as per the rough estimate. as per the reports, media reports, initial reports. The actual figures will come once this entire pipeline will be in full operation. But as per the preliminary reports, as per the preliminary estimates, it is going to benefit at least 1 billion rupees per month on transportation cost. So it is going to be a huge benefit for the people of the Nepal, and especially for the benefit of the Nepal economy, prosperity of the Nepal, and overall development of this country.
Right. Thank you, Raj Kumar, for joining us with the latest inputs from Kathmandu. In response to a query on a reference to Jammu and Kashmir in the joint statement issued after Chinese Foreign Minister's recent visit to Pakistan, the official spokesperson in the MEA, Raj Kumar, said, and I quote, "We reject the reference to Jammu and Kashmir in the joint statement issued by China and Pakistan after the recent visit of Chinese Foreign Minister. J&K is an integral part of India. On the other hand, India has consistently expressed concerns to both China and Pakistan on the projects in so-called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is in the territory of India and has been illegally occupied by Pakistan since 1947. India is resolutely opposed to any actions by other countries to change the status quo in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We call on the parties concerned to cease such actions." So India rejecting China and Pakistan's statement on Kashmir, saying Kashmir is an integral part of India. So MEA's official spokesperson tweeting, rejecting the stand that China and Pakistan have adopted in a joint statement on Kashmir, saying India is resolutely opposed to any actions by other countries to change the status quo in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We call on the parties concerned to cease such actions. In a key initiative aimed at doubling farmers' income, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be launching the National Animal Disease Control Program, that is NADCP, for eradicating foot and mouth disease and brucellosis in livestock on 11 September from Mathura in Uttar Pradesh. With 100% funding from the central government of 12,652 crore rupees for a period of 5 years till 2024, the program aims at vaccinating over 500 million livestock, including cattle, buffalo, sheep, goats and pigs against the foot and mouth disease. The program also aims at vaccinating 36 million female bovine calves annually in its fight against the brucellosis disease. The program has two components. One is to control the diseases by 2025 and their eradication by 2030. Prime Minister Narendra Modi shall also be launching the National Artificial Insemination Program on Wednesday. He is also expected to launch simultaneously nationwide workshops in Krishi Vigyan Kendras in all 687 districts of India on vaccination, disease management, artificial insemination and productivity. All the arrangements have been made for the grand program, which will herald the nation into a mission mode to save and nurture the livestock, Indian farmers' most valuable source of additional income. During his visit to Mathura, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also take part in the Swachhata Hi Seva program. And now let's take a look in detail on the two diseases that the National Animal Disease Control Program aims to combat, and those two diseases are the foot and mouth disease as well as brucellosis. So let's take a look at what exactly these diseases are, whether they can be combated in the manner that the government is planning to. Severe, highly contagious disease, foot and mouth disease. Disease affects cattle, swine, sheep, goats and other cloven-hoofed ruminants as well. So this is the foot and mouth disease that has claimed many lives of cattle. FMD can spread when infected animals bring the virus into physical contact with susceptible animals. So it can spread from cattle to cattle very easily. If a cow or buffalo gets infected with FMD, milk loss is up to 100%, which could last for 4 to 6 months, which is extremely expensive if you look at the Indian economy, because India is one of the highest producers of milk. 21% of cattle and buffalo did experience this virus in recent times. As per a study, 381 plus million cattle and buffaloes have been vaccinated against FMD already. Symptoms are excessive salivation, weakness, a reduction in milk production. So if these are the symptoms, you can be rest assured that your cattle may be infected by foot and mouth disease. Causes unsanitary environment in which the cattle lives in, drinking polluted drinking water and feeding on unhealthy fodder. What is brucellosis? It is an infection caused by bacterial genus Brucella. This is the bacteria that causes it, and this is an extremely dangerous disease with a high fatality rate. Bacteria transmitted from animals to humans by ingestion through infected food products. So this spreads to human beings as well. Bacteria transmitted from animals to humans by direct contact with an infected animal or inhalation of aerosol. So that's how the bacteria transmits from the cattle to humans. Disease also known as undulant fever, Malta fever and Mediterranean fever as well. So these are different names of brucellosis. Milk output reduces by 30% during the entire life cycle of an animal. So once it is infected with this disease, and this is the kind of impact that it has on milk production. Brucellosis causes infertility among animals as well. This leads to abortion. It causes infertility. One of the largest in the world is the livestock sector in India. That's the importance of the livestock sector in India. It is one of the largest in the world. 2010-11, it contributed to 4% GDP and 26% of agricultural GDP. So immense contribution in agricultural GDP and a good contribution insofar as national GDP is concerned. India ranks first among milk-producing nations, and thus it cannot afford cattle to be infected by FMD or brucellosis or such diseases. Largest contributor to national GDP among agricultural commodities. So, which is why the livestock sector is extremely important for India in terms of GDP. If you look at the national GDP or if you look at the agricultural GDP, then it does play a very significant role, and the government, it seems, is quite determined to fight the twin diseases of foot and mouth disease as well as brucellosis, to save animals and also to contribute to Indian economy. Well, now a guest is joining us in the studio to discuss about the National Animal Disease Control Program. We are joined by Manu Basu, who is Joint Secretary Livestock Health in the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying. I welcome you, Mr. Basu, to Midday Prime. What is the extent of the challenge that livestock in India and thus farmers face as a result of these two diseases?
See, you have noticed that the damage caused by this disease is really humongous, and for example, it impacts the farmer's income. You see, when farmers, or in India, who are the majority of the Indian population is engaged in agriculture, but agriculture also suffers due to vagaries of nature. But livestock is one such source of income which is less affected by vagaries of nature. And if you see, increasingly the GDP is increasing.
Yes, continue. Okay, absolutely. You're saying the GDP is increasing and we can't afford our livestock to be infected by such diseases. What is the level of awareness that is there in the country, and what is the penetration of vaccination that the government has had to launch this in mission mode beginning tomorrow?
There is a lack of awareness. It is that is the biggest challenge, number one. Number two is that vaccination has, it was there. It had started since 2003, especially for FMD, but it was in pockets of the country. We thought, well, it will subside with this, but FMD is still continuing, and a big boost by the present government in the coming years. For the next 5 years, we plan to directly combat it through the center. From the center, there is an allocation of around 13,343 crores, both for brucellosis and FMD.
Are we seeing a change in funding pattern as well? Is the center now going to contribute 100% of the funding instead of 60%, which was the case until now?
Yes, it was 60-40, but then experience showed us that that's not enough. More has to be done. Intensive vaccination covering all animals, including the reservoir animals, because till now one thing that the ratio was 60-40. Secondly, it was only cattle and buffaloes which were covered by the vaccination. Now it is proposed that we will not only cover cattle and buffalo, but also goats, sheep, pigs as well.
How will the National Animal Disease Control Program be a value addition to the existing programs that are there to counter these two diseases?
As you already noted that the new National Animal Disease Control Program is centrally funded, 100% funding will be provided by the center. But not only this, there are some special features of this which are like we are, as I already stated, that we are covering sheep, goat and pigs one. Then there is going to be a primary vaccination for calves at the age of 4 to 5 months against FMD. And then there will be also deworming, because deworming has its effects on vaccination, on the immunity of the animals. Finally, there is going to be Pashu Aadhaar, that is compulsory identification of animals by a unique tag, ear tag. With that, which will be also be readable, it will be a very unique identity for the animals, and there will also be distribution of animal health cards, so that it is the vaccinations are also monitored.
Tomorrow, artificial insemination program is also being launched. Will it help improve fertility rates among the livestock? Also, we understand that there will be simultaneous launch of workshops that will help train farmers in Krishi Vigyan Kendras across all the districts in the country into disease management, vaccination, productivity, etc. So, are we looking at a holistic integrated approach towards livestock health?
Yes. Actually, tomorrow, in addition to the launch of the program from Mathura, we have a similar program of workshops will be done thereafter in all the 687 districts in the KVKs. The state governments, the district veterinary officers will be going there, and they will discuss about the disease management. The basic thing is awareness. Lack of awareness is one of the key factors. So, that has to be addressed. Number one. Number two is that unless this is done right now, it impacts our exports. You know, ultimately, holistically, if we do not take the management of these diseases as well as AI, you see the benefit of AI is like if you go for a natural service, one bull, at the same time, how many cows it can, how many calves it can produce, but with one artificial insemination, you know, hundreds of progeny can be done at a very short time.
Absolutely. So, those are the benefits that are associated with vaccination against foot and mouth disease as well as brucellosis, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to launch that program to combat these two diseases besides artificial insemination program, and there will be simultaneous launch of workshops to train farmers into various aspects of livestock health. Thank you so much, Mr. Basu, for having joined us on Midday Prime. In Jammu and Kashmir, Special Market Intervention Price Scheme has been announced for procurement of apples. Chief Secretary BVR Subramanian on Monday chaired a video conference with Deputy Commissioners of Kashmir Division to discuss the rollout of the Special Market Intervention Price Scheme being introduced to procure nearly 12 lakh metric tons of apples on remunerative prices. Secretary Horticulture was also present in the meeting. The scheme will enhance apple growers' income in the valley by about 2,000 crore rupees. Department of Information and Public Relations in Jammu and Kashmir in a tweet said that apples are to be procured from growers and aggregators at fruit mandis in Sopore, in Baramulla, in Parampora, in Srinagar, in Shopia and Batingo in Anantnag district. So that's a boost to apple growers in J&K. Meanwhile, the centre has constituted a 3-member advisory committee to look into distribution of assets and liabilities of Jammu and Kashmir between 2 successor union territories, which will come into existence on the 31st of October. While former Defence Secretary Sanjay Mitra will be the chairman of the committee, retired IAS officer Arun Goyal and retired Indian Civil Accounts Service officer Giriraj Prasad Gupta will be its members. As per Section 84 of the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Act 2019, the assets and liabilities of the existing state of Jammu and Kashmir have to be apportioned between the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. On 5th August, the centre announced the abrogation of the special status given to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 and bifurcation of the state into the two union territories. The government has set up a 3-member committee to look into assets liabilities of Jammu and Kashmir to be given to two union territories. The centre has constituted a 3-member committee to look into distribution of assets and liabilities of Jammu and Kashmir between two successor union territories, which will come into existence on 31st October according to an official notification. So, a number of developments taking place with regard to J&K. One is with regard to apple growers. A scheme has been announced to help them get a remunerative price for their produce. The other is the constitution of a 3-member committee to look into division of assets and liabilities for the two successor union territories, one of Jammu and Kashmir and one of Ladakh. That's committee has been constituted by the centre. Let's move on now. The Vice President today interacted with a delegation of Sarpanchs from Jammu and Kashmir. Vice President urged them to take the development schemes to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The Vice President also said that the government has taken various steps to strengthen Panchayati Raj institutions.
पंचायतों में का वित्तीय अधिकार 10 गुना बढ़ाकर 1 लाख कर दिया है। पहले पंचायत का अधिकार केवल 10,000 तक था। अभी जो नया कानून लाया उसके हिसाब से पंचायत को 1 लाख तक खर्च करने का अधिकार मिलेगा, फंड्स मिलेगा। दूसरा, पंचायत भी अपना रिसोर्स बढ़ा सकते, उसके लिए भी अधिकार पंचायत को दिया। केवल उतना नहीं, ICDS आंगनवाड़ी, प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना और काफी स्कीम्स है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का। वो सब स्कीम्स के बारे में सोशल ऑडिट करने का अधिकार पंचायत को मिलेगा।
Meanwhile, security forces have arrested 8 terrorists of Lashkar-e-Taiba in Sopore area of Baramulla district. The arrested include 2 local terrorists who were associated with the attack on fruit traders on the night of the 6th of September. 4 family members of a fruit trader, including a 2-year-old girl, were injured when terrorists resorted to indiscriminate firing in Sopore on the 6th of night. 2 terrorists entered the house of the fruit trader Abdul Hamid Radar at Dangarpora in Sopore and resorted to firing with automatic weapons. 4 members of the family were injured in the attack. So that's the news coming in. Security forces have arrested 8 overground workers of Lashkar-e-Taiba, and at least 2 of them were involved in an attack on the family of a fruit trader on the night of the 6th of September. So that news coming in. It's a major development in the fight against terrorism in Kashmir. And now our correspondent Vishal Baristo is joining us from Srinagar for more on this. Vishal, is the arrest of the 8 overground LET workers being seen as a significant breakthrough by the security forces?
Breakthrough because after the killing, after attack on the fruit merchant on the night of 6th, in which the granddaughter of the fruit merchant was critically injured, and she is still fighting the attack, the injuries of the attack. It's a big development. Jammu and Kashmir police have arrested 8 LET militants last night, and 2 of them are said to have been there in the associated with the attack on the apple merchant's family. So it's a big achievement by the security forces. After the attack, the morale went down, especially of the apple trade people, apple traders, and I was there yesterday in the market and they were saying it's a very bad news. We want to open our shops, but we are scared that the attack can happen on us as well. this attack happened in the Dangarpura area of Sopore, which is in the Baramulla district. And after this arrest, the mood would be lifted, and people will have confidence in the security forces. And we would get to know more about this arrest after some time, and police definitely would get to know how this attack was designed and planned, and what are the other plans of the anti-national elements and Lashkar-e-Taiba and other terrorist outfits. So definitely it's a big development here in Kashmir.
Besides that, Vishal, there are other developments linked to J&K that are also taking place. For instance, the centre has now constituted a 3-member committee to look into the division of assets and liabilities for the 2 successor union territories, one of Jammu and Kashmir and the other of Ladakh, that will come into being on the 31st of October. How are these developments that are taking place at the centre being received in the valley?
Well, Munmun, the normal Kashmiri is very much in the mood of helping the government, of being a member, being a participant in the development process of the state, and they want to come out, they want to open their shops. Remember, this is a wedding season, and people, they have to struggle a lot because of such veiled threats that you should not open your shops by the anti-national elements, and it's a big challenge for them shopping early morning for the wedding in the families, and that is why the presence of security forces is very much required here. But this announcement by the government that the 3-member committee has been formed to implement the development process and the development schemes in the state is going to be very crucial, and people are welcoming it, and the anti-national elements are also looking at it very closely, and every day they are monitoring there. As you heard that the J&K police have arrested 8 LET militants, so they are also trying their level best to disturb the normalcy in the state, especially in the valley. But normal Kashmiri is now tired of it. It's been more than a month now that they have been struggling with this so-called Band. They open their shops, but there's always a fear because of the veiled threats by these anti-national elements. But a normal Kashmiri wants that normalcy should return in the state. They want to send their children to the schools. The attendance is thin, but slowly it's growing. Yesterday I visited other parts of the valley, and I could see people shopping. I could see shops open, and they are all coming out slowly and slowly because they are all tired of this kind of situation. And this development by the announcement by the centre is definitely going to help the state, and it's a big welcome by the normal Kashmiri who wants to be part of the development process in the state.
Right. Thank you, Vishal, for those updates from Srinagar. A former legislator from Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party has sought asylum in India, claiming that minorities were deprived of their rights in the neighbouring nation. Baldev Kumar, along with his wife and 2 children, came to India last month and is presently staying at Khana in Punjab's Ludhiana district. On requesting asylum from the Indian government, he said that people are surviving in Pakistan with a lot of difficulties and he will not go back. Baldev Kumar is a former MLA of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf from Bari Court in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Assembly and is currently in India to seek political asylum. When asked why he left his country and came to India, Kumar said that the whole world is watching what the situation is in Pakistan now. He said that minorities were expecting some relief with the new government, but added that Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan utterly failed to bring any change in the situation. He said that had minorities been getting rights in Pakistan, such situation would not have arisen. He further said he has also requested his other family members to leave Pakistan. Kumar said that there were several families in Sindh and Nankana Sahib which told him that if he got asylum in India, then they would also try to leave Pakistan. Kumar was a former member of Provincial Assembly from Bari Court seat in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in Pakistan. Notably, in Pakistan's Punjab province, a teenage Sikh girl, the daughter of a Granthi or a priest of a Gurudwara there, was abducted and converted to Islam at gunpoint before she was married to a Muslim man, her family had alleged. A video of the girl's family had gone viral on social media, in which one of her family members had alleged that a group of men attacked their house and she was abducted and forcibly converted to Islam. Such is the situation insofar as
minority वहाँ secure, minority नहीं मुसलमान secure नहीं है और क्या है वहाँ बहुत हालात ख़राब जा रहे हैं मैं इंडियन गवर्नमेंट से यही सालम की अपील की है कि मैं यहाँ सालम पे रहना चाहूँ
So, former Pakistan MLA exposing the persecution of minorities that is taking place in Pakistan for far too long now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met with the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves. The two leaders exchanged views on a range of issues to further reinforce the bilateral ties between the two countries. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a southern Caribbean nation comprising a main island, St. Vincent, and a chain of smaller islands. The CBI has filed its first charge sheet against IMA Jewels promoter Mansoor Khan within 8 days of probe for allegedly duping lakhs of people by promising them high returns using Islamic ways of investment. In its report, the agency has charged Khan, the then managing director of Monetary Advisory or IMA Jewels, and 19 others for alleged criminal conspiracy, cheating, among other charges, under the Indian Penal Code. The official said it is the first charge sheet in the scam before the special court in Bangalore, and the agency will file further charge sheets as the investigation progresses. The CBI had taken over investigation into the case on the 30th of August night on the request of the Karnataka government, routed through the centre. Khan, through his company IMA and its subsidiaries, had allegedly duped over 1 lakh investors, mostly Muslims, promising high returns using Islamic ways of investment. Most of the deposits were allegedly misappropriated by the accused for acquiring assets in names of family members. The accused allegedly paid large bribes to public servants and others as protection money to carry out their illegal activities, according to the agency. After taking over the case, the CBI has formed a 12-member multidisciplinary investigation team comprising its investigators who are being assisted by chartered accountants, forensic auditor, computer forensic experts and bankers. President Ramnath Kovind in Iceland has, in his first leg of his 9-day 3-nation tour to Iceland, Switzerland and Slovenia, interacted with the Indian business delegation in the capital. Later, addressing the Indian community in Reykjavik, the president said that the Indian community is forging deep people-to-people relations with Iceland. The president also applauded them for contributing to the local society through their advanced skills and knowledge.
Proud of your achievements. You convey an image of India that is highly mobile, highly skilled, and one whose people are writing the script of the machine intelligence age. You are contributing to the local society through your advanced skills, but equally through your warmth and friendship.
President Ramnath Kovind also said that it is our objective to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2024, while inviting the Indian community to be a part of the reform process.
We are on a transformational growth path. We have set a target to become a $5 trillion economy by 2025. Major reform process is underway. We are also looking at how we can learn from Iceland to tap geothermal energy. I invite you to be part of our transformative journey. You have an important role to play in forging technology, investment, tourism, and cultural links, and strengthening our ties with Iceland and the world.
The country is celebrating 132nd birth anniversary of Pandit Govind Ballabh Pant. Several programs are being organized at around 70 locations across the country. A function was organized in New Delhi where Union Minister Rajnath Singh, senior BJP leader L.K. Advani, besides other prominent leaders, paid floral tributes. And at midday prime, it's time for news and updates from the world of business. My colleague Nancy joins us now with the latest business updates. Nancy, it's over to you.
Thanks, Munmun. Yes, all the business news. Well, the Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, Dharmendra Pradhan, has met the Executive Director of International Energy Agency, Dr. Fatih Birol, who congratulated Prime Minister Modi on the success of the Ujjwala Yojana. He said, for India, it is a milestone success for global energy history when 80 millionth LPG connection was distributed on the 7th of September. India's lead in the use of clean cooking gas is a model for other countries to emulate for betterment of the health of a large number of people. Dharmendra Pradhan also earlier held a meeting with his UAE counterpart Suhail Mohammad Faraj Al Mazrouai ahead of the 8th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable meeting in Abu Dhabi. Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan also met the Secretary General of the OPEC, Mohammad Sansusi Barkindo. Textiles Minister Smriti Irani interacted with the media in Kolkata on the occasion of 100 days of the Modi government. She said that government's efforts have led to employability in the textiles sector.
टेक्सटाइल को अगर आप देख लें तो जब टेक्सटाइल का पैकेज आया था तब से लेकर आज तक 13,000 करोड़ का ज़्यादा निवेश हमारे सेगमेंट में हुआ है और हमारी इंडस्ट्री का आंकड़ा है कि प्रत्येक 1 करोड़ के लिए 70 नौकरियां, डायरेक्ट नौकरियों का सृजन होता है। तो आपको 3 उदाहरण दे चुकी हूँ एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी को कैसे बढ़ाया गया और साथ ही आज जो मैंने लेबर कोड के संदर्भ में चर्चा की उसमें कैसे मिनिमम वेज अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर के वर्कर्स को भी सुनिश्चित किया गया है उसके संदर्भ में मैंने आपको जानकारी दी है।
And that's all the business news this afternoon. It's back to you, Munmun, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Nancy, for that roundup. And now a look at what's making news across the globe. Jack Ma, who founded Alibaba Group, the world's biggest e-commerce company, is stepping down as chairman at a time when the rapidly changing industry faces uncertainty amid a US-Chinese trade war. Ma stepped down today as part of a succession announced a year earlier. He will stay on as a member of the Alibaba Partnership, a group of 36 people with the right to nominate a majority of the company's board of directors. Ma founded Alibaba in 1999 to connect Chinese exporters to American retailers. The company has shifted its focus to serving China's growing consumer market. Domestic businesses accounted for 66% of $16.7 billion in revenue in the quarter ending June. So Ma has now stepped down. This is a part of a succession plan that was announced a year earlier. Ma is stepping down today. Alibaba was set up in order to connect Chinese exporters with American retailers. US President Donald Trump has hit the headlines after his decision to halt peace talks with the Taliban. The president said that Afghanistan peace talks with the Taliban are dead and that the US had hit the group harder in the last 4 days than it had done ever before. The president had recently stunned the world after his announcement of cancelling the secret meeting scheduled with the Taliban and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani at Camp David. The meeting was cancelled following an attack in Kabul in which an American soldier were among the dead. Justifying his decision, Trump said that the decision to invite the Taliban to Camp David was his, and so was the call to cancel it. Trump now saying that the talks are dead. In a new blow for Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the UK after a law blocking no-deal Brexit comes into force, UK Parliament has voted for the second time to reject Prime Minister's call for a pre-Brexit snap election on the 15th of October. With this, the 5-week suspension of UK Parliament is now set to begin. A total of 293 of the 650 House of Commons members backed the proposal, well short of the two-thirds majority needed. Boris Johnson tried to call a snap election after lawmakers sought to prevent him from taking Britain out of the European Union without a divorce deal. Earlier, British MPs yesterday voted narrowly in favour of a motion asking the government to publish its impact assessments for a no-deal Brexit. The motion, which passed by 311 votes to 302, also asks the government to publish communications between government officials over their plans for the suspension of Parliament. In another development, the Speaker of Britain's House of Commons, John Bercow, has said that he would step down by the 31st of October. He added that House can choose a successor before that facilitating his exit. Around 17,000 passengers were stranded overnight at Tokyo's Narita airport after it took a direct hit from a powerful typhoon that caused transport chaos throughout the capital. The typhoon caused more than 100 flights to be scrapped, and road and rail links to the airport were also badly affected, leaving many with no transport options to the city. Narita Airport, located in Chiba to the east of Tokyo, was right in the line of fire of Typhoon Faxai, which brought winds of up to 207 kilometers per hour. Suburban trains throughout the huge Tokyo metropolitan area were not reopened until 8 a.m. on Monday as officials checked for debris and damage. This sparked pandemonium during the notoriously busy morning commute. The chaos came as Japan is preparing to host the Rugby World Cup later this month, and with the 2020 Tokyo Olympics just around the corner. British Airways on Monday cancelled almost all flights departing and arriving into the UK as the airline's first ever pilots' strike began, sparking travel chaos for tens of thousands of passengers. The carrier, owned by London-listed International Airlines Group and which operates about 850 flights per day in Britain, said it had no option but to cancel nearly all scheduled flights. On the first day of the strike, over 1,45,000 passengers faced cancelled international and domestic flights, mainly at London's Gatwick and Heathrow airports. The airline stressed that it remained willing to return to talks, but the union, which is seeking a bigger share of company profits, accuses British Airways for not wanting to negotiate. Blue screens displayed a message saying that BA was deeply sorry for the large number of cancellations at T5, home to its British operations. An India breakfast networking session was hosted by Information and Broadcasting Ministry on the sidelines of its participation at the Toronto International Film Festival 2019. The Indian delegation apprised the participants about friendly policy initiatives and framework for filming in India, and also on the process and procedures for obtaining clearances for shooting through single window mechanism at the Film Facilitation Office. The delegation explored collaboration and partnerships for the Golden Jubilee edition of IFFI 2019 and invited the world to be a part of the celebrations in Goa this November.
We would be unveiling the program, the kind of segments, etc., which will be happening there. But I can assure you that we've been working doubly hard, and that was one of the objectives of coming over to Toronto, to tell people to kindly come. Everyone is invited. You have to register at IFFI Goa. That's the website, and it's all there in the booklet, exact website address. All that is there. And it is again a confluence of different forms, aspects, themes, content of cinema. That's very, very important. It's not India-centric, it's world-centric.
Speaking on the occasion, Artistic Director and co-head of TIFF, Cameron Bailey, said that there is a very strong bond between Indian cinema and TIFF. He also stated that there is no country in the world that makes films like India does.
Very strong bond between Indian cinema and this festival and the Canadian audiences and the industry that's here. We are here to support Indian films. We have 4 films from India this year at the festival. big musical films, serious dramas, comedies, all of that is representative of the richness of Indian cinema. There's really no country in the world that makes film like India. And when I go there, I know I can talk to anyone.
And it's time for all the sports action now. My colleague Anil Thomas joins us now with all the sports updates. Anil, what's making news in the world of sports?
Thank you, Moon. We've got a big game in football. India taking on Qatar today, and the Indian football team will face their most daunting task when they take on Asian champions Qatar in that World Cup qualifying game later today. India went on fighting against Oman after Sunil Chhetri had given them the lead in the first half. In the other game, India eventually lost 1-2 but led for most part of the game. The heartbreaking loss in the campaign opener has dented India's chances of moving ahead after they let in 2 goals in the last 8 minutes in Guwahati on September 5th. Qatar, ranked 62nd in the world, will start Tuesday's Group E match against 103rd ranked India as overwhelming favourites. The Sports Ministry has de-recognized the Paralympic Committee of India, that's PCI, citing a violation of the National Sports Code in the body's decision to sack President Rao Indrajit Singh. In the suspension order issued on September 9th, the ministry wrote that the PCI has been penalized for misgovernance. The ministry had received a complaint from the former president, who was removed by a majority vote, and it found the federation's response to be unsatisfactory. On to cricket, Rashid Khan led Afghanistan on Monday to a stunning 224-run win over Bangladesh in the one-off test at Chattogram to register the second win in Test cricket. Afghanistan only gained Test status last year and has played just 2 tests before this, losing to India in their maiden Test match and beat Ireland on its other Test. Captain Rashid Khan led from the front for Afghanistan, bowled them to victory on the final day of a rain-affected match, which saw only 17 overs being bowled, in which the visitors managed to grab the remaining 4 wickets to trigger a joyous celebration on the field. On to football, it's a historic day for Spanish football and a legend of the game, Sergio Ramos, became the most capped player in the history of the Spanish national team. Former captain and Madrid legend Iker Casillas held the mantle prior to Ramos overtaking him. He earned his first cap with Spain at the age of 18. He has since gone on to become the fastest player to reach 100 caps and to win Spain's only World Cup, along with 2 consecutive European Championships. He was named as part of the World Cup Dream Team in 2010 and the European Championship team of the tournament in 2012. Well, that's all in sports. Back to Moon for more updates.
Thank you, Anil, for that. And now it's time for our next segment, Live Prime, where we bring you stories from the world of art, culture, cinema, fashion, science and innovation. Stories that are bringing smiles, stories that are changing lives. Age is just a number, and John Socrates of Britain has proven that. The 77-year-old British woman sailed around the world solo, non-stop and unassisted, spending more than 330 days at sea. When Joan set her 36-feet boat on sail, what followed was an adventure of a lifetime. Back in 2018, when she had left Victoria's Ogden Point in British Columbia, Canada, who knew that she could survive independently for around 330 days at the sea alone and her name be written in history. Eagerly waiting for her return, hundreds of well-wishers waited for Socrates at the breakwaters of Victoria, from where she started. Joan has made several attempts earlier, but due to some or the other reasons, she was forced to abandon each try. Diamonds are to be found only in the darkness of the earth and truth in the darkness of the mind, said Victor Hugo, and he was almost correct. Anupriya Lakra, a 27-year-old woman from Malkangiri district, which is among the worst Naxal-infested districts, is a live example of courage and willpower after she became the first female pilot from the region to fly a commercial plane. She will soon join a private airline as a co-pilot. 7 years ago, she quit her engineering studies midway to follow her passion of flying and become a pilot. She has realized the ambition. Anupriya has become an epitome of resistance and dedication and an inspiration for other girls in the region to fight the obstacles with hard work and sincerity. With that, we come to the close of this edition of Midday Prime. News and updates will continue on DD India and TT News.
Situated in the plain mountain ranges in Tamil Nadu, Kodaikanal presents a picturesque sight to behold. If this is nature's bounty here, man has gifted it a priceless heritage of science by establishing a solar observatory in Kodaikanal. This observatory was established on April 1, 1899. Equipments and manpower from then Madras Observatory were shifted here. The data collected about the various activities on the solar surface are the oldest one in India. The photographs taken from this observatory for the last 100 years are now being digitized so that the last 10 solar cycles can be studied. The flow of the gases on the solar surface, which is called evershed effect,